I am inking. Okay. I am inking a black Cricut cover. Um, okay. Hang on. I'm going to watch the live stream up here. Um, anyway, my live streams don't get a lot of views, but I thought I would do it anyway. So we'll see. I can kind of see what's going on up there. I don't know if anybody will watch this or not, but here we go. This is the Black Cricket. It's a comic book that I'm drawing. Um, I don't ink it normally, but I'm inking the cover. This cover. Um, so I'm not. I wouldn't call myself uh, a professional inker, but I like inking occasionally. It's working with an inker. You is kind of a double-edged sword because it. I don't think it ever looks exactly like you think it's going to look in your head, but you don't have to do the inking, and sometimes it looks better. I mean, the inker for the Black Cricket is a guy named Jeff Austin. He's really good, um, and everybody really likes it, and I like it, but it's not exactly what it would look like in my head. Not that my inking looks like what I think it'll look like in my head, but I like the opportunity to ink once in a while, and it gives me the chance to kind of use some muscles I don't normally use. Um, and so this is going to be the cover for a book called Yeet Presents. And Yeet Presents is kind of a weird book because people keep asking me, where can I get a copy of this? It's like, well, you have to be basically sign up for their Patreon. So, it's not going to be on shelves anywhere. And I think this will be the third issue that's had the Black Cricket in it. And the publisher seems to like the Black Cricket, and I think the response has been pretty good. So I thought it'd be cool to do a live stream. Hopefully, um, people will see this. I don't know if people see live streams. I thought maybe it would tell me if anyone was watching, but it has not, or it is not. Looking to see if my head's out of the way. I always worry on these things that all you'll get is a live stream at the back of my head, which, you know, isn't really desirable. Um, anyway, I'm literally inking this with a micron. Um, my inking style is not very sophisticated. I would prefer. I kind of grew up using rapidographs, and I did a book called Heaven's Rejects a couple of years ago, and I inked all of that, which makes me glad I'm not inking this because it took me forever. But I used rapidographs and brushes, more like what I would consider like traditional or like professional kind of inking tools. But I'm only doing a few images here and there on the Black Cricket, so I'm not overly concerned about being the best. I'm just worried about how it looks and getting it done. And I have an idea of what I want it to look like. And this is loose pencils. This is looser than what I turned in for the book. But I don't see any point in drawing the whole thing real tight. I mean, this is pretty tight. I was going to start inking earlier. I don't see any point in drawing like real tight pencils if I'm going to ink it myself. It can be kind of loose, I think. I will allow that. Um, and I'm always doing like post kind of stuff in Photoshop. I don't know how much I'll do. I'm gonna do the lettering also. I want this to have like a silver age, or maybe not a silver age, like a bronze age kind of comic book feel. That's what we're going for with the Black Cricket. That's what we like. That's what I like. And so that's what I'm doing. It's funny when Dan first contacted me about drawing the Black Cricket. he showed me some pages that a guy named Josh had done, who's kind of part of the team. And Josh had drawn them very manga-esque. And I said, well, I don't really draw like that. I mean, I like the idea because it was a superhero thing, and I love superheroes. I'm trying to get more of an organic feel to this, a little bit looser. It'll probably be so loose that I hate it when I'm done. But anyway, so I said, I don't. Uh, I don't draw like that. And he's like, no, 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 I want it. He had seen a book that I did called oh, I forget the name of it. Oh, I was going to call it 1978, I think it was. And my idea was I was going to do it like a comic book. I had an idea because I like Bronze Age comics, specifically Age Marvel comics. And so my idea was I would do a comic. Well, it was inspired. There's probably a better way to explain it. It was inspired by when I was a kid. My grandmother would go to garage sales and buy me comics at garage sales, and so I'd get this random issue like Daredevil or whatever, or Marvel 2-in-1. Or, it seemed like it was a lot of it was Marvel, um, and so I didn't know like who the characters were. This is when I was real young, and I was not buying comics for myself at this point. It was just the random one that popped up, mostly something I swiped from my uncles or whatever, because they were a few years older than me and they read comic books. And so my grandma would do that. I grew up in a very artistic family. My grandmother and was I live in Oklahoma City. I grew up in a suburb of Oklahoma, but my grandmother had lived in New York City, and she was an interior decorator. And so when she moved to Oklahoma, she made what we used to call draperies, which are curtains. Which sounds weird now to say this, but at the time that she did it, these people would spend thousands of dollars getting these curtains made for their house. And my grandma would design them and buy all the fabrics, sew them, make them. I remember my grandfather cutting the cornice boards. Probably most people in the world don't know what cornice boards are nowadays. But in the old days when you had custom draperies made, and I'm sure there's probably still people that do this, but it was almost expected back in the day because you couldn't get curtains. It wasn't like you could go to the Walmart. This is like before Walmart. There was no Walmart around, but there's no place. Now there's you can go to in online and get curtains. By the time they had to be custom made because all your windows are different sizes, obviously. And so my grandmother would go in and measure and design all these things. Anyway, and so she did that. Then I got a cousin who he is an artist, um, and anyway, so I was always being encouraged to do artistic stuff when I was a kid, and I was kind of a kid that always kind of I don't know I was always making stuff. I still kind of am that way now. I don't have time, but I mean I was always making stuff out of cardboard or whatever. I had a bat cave, but I'd make like a big bat cave for my Megos out of cardboard or whatever. Like I said, I'm still kind of like that. I don't make cardboard. I don't make Megos, but uh, I did. Yeah, it's funny. We were in Disneyland earlier in the summer, late last summer, and they had the Magos of the. I guess they'd reissued the Magos of the Fantastic Four, which I really wanted when I was a kid, and I almost got them, but I was like, oh God, do I want to go down that rabbit hole? Go me, and I'd be like, okay, I got that. Now I really needed I got all the Fantastic Four. Now I need a Doctor Doom, or now I need a super scroll or whatever. And next thing I know, I'd be looking how to customize Makos. And that sort of thing, while it's a fun hobby, is detrimental towards getting your comic pages done. So I did not. I thought about it though. I really wanted them, but I thought, golly, as soon as I get them, I'll do that. Gosh, another thing. You know, I got enough stuff cluttering up my studio without getting. And anyway. And I occasionally have pangs of. I had seen the new movie, the Fantastic Four movies, about the time it came out. I thought, oh, I should watch that, and before we leave Anaheim, and I did not. Thankfully, because after I watched it, I was like, oh god, I should have got those Megos. Anyway, I'm trying to ink this not loose, but kind of in an organic. My being a huge X-Men fan, I'm wearing it. You probably see it in some of the shots. I'm wearing my X-Men shirt today, but being a huge X-Men fan, kind of my North Star for inking is Terry Austin. Not that I ink like Terry Austin, but so I tend to try and do that. But I want it to be a little more uh, organic because I don't really draw. Which I mean, John Byrne didn't either at the time, but I don't really draw like that. So not that clean. Certainly. Which, I mean, nobody does with Terry Austin. Which, if you've ever seen Terry Austin's pencils, it looks basically like Terry Austin and John Byrne on the X-Men, or at least it did back in the day. I wonder if I got a thicker marker. Oops, sorry about that. My tape is a little untaped here. When I went live, YouTube forced me to do this kind of format. I don't know if that's the default. I may have to put a. This has been stuck to my desk for a couple days, so this tape may not have the best adhesive qualities. Ooh, I think it's just that part. Stick it there. That should be plenty. Let's see if it's completely dry. I should have planned this out a little bit better. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's completely dry. It's been a while since I've inked. I got a million Sharpies in here, but they're all either. None are fat though. Oh, here we go. See, this is probably the same marker I used earlier. Oh, nope, this is good. Okay, I'm gonna spot some blacks. Anyway, I was talking about my desk shifted. Anyway, so the Black Cricket, we've been working on the Black Cricket for a while. And we really didn't have a publisher, but I liked the project, and I've done stuff for small publishers, and you kind of know going into it like, okay, this isn't going to go well. I did one comic, and they kind of were like, "Oh man, you're going to make all this money," and you know, we had let's just say the publisher and I ended up with a very contentious relationship, which is sad because I really liked them, but we just couldn't. Well, we started the project, and by the time it was done, the editorial changed. We didn't really have an editor when we started, and then the company kind of went to this policy of everything has to work with an editor, and so we didn't have one. So we brought in the book with no editorial, and that ruffled some feathers, I think. And I mean, it is what it is. But behind the scenes, what I didn't know was the company was struggling financially. and this was, the whole industry was struggling. Heck, I think the whole industry's struggling now. But I mean, Yeet. I think our first deal was in Yeet 70. I think it did okay. Yeet operates. If you're unfamiliar with them, they kind of operate. You got to. It's a Patreon basically. You subscribe to their Patreon, you get issues of Yeet, and there's I think they did okay. I mean, not great, but I mean decent. I mean, if the numbers I heard, which I'm not going to repeat because I'm hearing them secondhand, but the numbers I heard were accurate, then and this were an indie book that we were self-publishing, it would have been pretty good for us. But yeah, but it's an anthology. I think there was two other stories anyway. And if somebody from Vita is watching this, I'm completely wrong. Please forgive me. Feel free to correct me in the comments. I don't know why the feed is so blurry, or at least it looks blurry on my phone. Maybe because it's live. I don't know. Watch Slate if it's terrible. I don't know how long I've been doing this. I thought it might be interesting to watch somebody ink. Maybe the kind of thing I would watch. Probably the only one. Watch this guy using the same tool. Maybe I can learn something from him. That's a joke. Black Creek is kind of cool because he's got these little disc on his hip, which is like he had that when I came along, so I'm hesitant to say this, but it's kind of like a homage to like Iron Man. He's not really like Iron Man though. I mean, he's wearing a suit that gives him all these crazy abilities, but I think of him how I think of him is like in the MCU Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. Remember, like the first one, he uh, he had the suit that had all these abilities that do stuff. That's kind of what it's like, but it's not a rigid suit like an Iron Man suit. It's more like that Spider-Man suit, or that's how I think about it. That's how I described it to the writer, which is a guy named Dan Johnson. Super good guy. He is part of the Dollar Bin Bandits. So if you see that, if you watch podcasts, you might check that out. I ink this hand. I tried to do enough pencils that I was comfortable going to ink, but not so much that I felt like I was wasting my time. If you can see that. What if I should zoom in? But it looks blurry on my screen up there. Hopefully that's not everyone's experience. If so, this is kind of a waste of time. Well, not for me because I'm getting my cover inked, but I love using a marker to ink with. I know it's not the preferred tool, but it has like this blobby thing on the end that I really like. I don't know why. This is cool. It reminds me. I'm always, every time I ink and I use. I'm always reminded of like the first time I ever used a rapidograph in art school, and I just immediately fell in love with this thing. Now, little I realized at the time what a huge pain in the neck they are to keep running, which is why I'm not using one for this. Otherwise, I'd be using one because I love them. I got a bunch here, but they don't. I don't keep them. I don't think they have ink in them. If they do, I'm in trouble. But uh, they're finicky. But if you know how to work them, they'll last forever. You can let ink dry in them as long as you don't bend the little needle that's in them. You can really kind of abuse them. And I do like dumb stuff like run like dyes through them and stuff. It's coming together quite nicely, if I say so myself. I was inspired by how I'm drawing this, which is originally, I mean, this is how I've drawn the black cricket suit all along, but this kind of black with highlights was inspired by how John Byrne and Terry Austin handled Cyclops' suit. If you look at Cyclops, he's got that where it's like on the blue, it's like mostly black, and then there's like a little bit of white around the kind of a rim lighting of white, and then it's blue. So when I was a kid, I always saw that and thought it was like kind of a shiny blue, almost like a satin material, or like, and so that's not really what I'm going for. What's funny is every time I see the black cricket costume colored, I'm always like, what color is this? Because in my mind, it is not the color that. In my mind, it's black, like his suit is black, his little shoulder thing, his helmet, and his gloves and boots are silver, and they're not that way on the cover. Which I mean I'm okay with. I mean, not, but it just kind of surprises me when I see colors like, oh, that's what color it's supposed to be. Oh, good thing I'm not doing coloring. Yeah, I would color wrong if I were coloring it, but I'm not coloring it, thankfully. Good team. Um, I talked about Jeff Austin inking, and he does a lot of stuff. I would call him a strong inker because most of his stuff that he inks, I can tell like he inked it, and which is fine. I mean, I'm when you have an inker, especially when you're like, I really want to ink it, which is kind of where I'm at on the deal. It's like keeping up. I have a full time day job. Is Keeping up with the pencils is hard enough, and so I just kind of release it to him, I guess, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. And like I said, and God, I hope he doesn't listen and get mad, but it doesn't look like I would have inked it. But I mean that's okay because everybody seems to like it. As long as people like it, I don't care. Whether it looks. I mean, because to me, I can look at it and go, well, yeah, I can see my inking is a lot. He's a very clean inker. So I don't know if this would show me comments. I can't see any comments. Oh, somebody is watching. The one and only. Oh, see, I was hoping it'd show me comments on the feed, but it's not. Anyway, I can't tell if anybody's watching. Anyway, thanks for watching. Holy cow, it's been going 24 minutes. Man, I'm a slow inker. Anyway, thank you for watching. What's that name? Tamara. Thank you, Tamara, for commenting. I think I'd have to be have like my iPad to see comments while I'm going. I'm hoping to get Black Cricket inked. So I posted this. I posted the pencils of this in the Yeet thing, and so Dan likes to change everything, and him and I have kind of not really argued about it, but I've kind of so my thought was I'd start inking before he could change it to, which he's seen this. He saw I did a real loose version that I showed him. But my thought was I'm going to start inking it, and if he says anything, I can go. I've already started inking, Dan. With regards to like layout. That's the trick. If you want to get one over on your collaborators, do something of the work that you can't redo without a lot of effort, and don't tell them. Well, they saw it, and Dan was okay with it. He this scene does not appear in the comic. It's going to be the cover for, which I think was his. But the problem is, we're still kind of. This is early on in the story, so we're still kind of setting everything up. And so there's not a lot of action in this particular chapter, which I hate to say. I mean, there's stuff going on, but there's not like a dramatic scene. But Miss Chemistry is introduced. That's who this character is. And Dan said, "Well, she doesn't look like that." Which, I mean, she looks like this, but she has these special flash that she uses. And I said, "Well, I want it to be more dramatic." I mean, it's the cover. I didn't. I On the inside, I'll keep it, on model. But on the cover, I felt if I was a little bit off to make it more dramatic, it was okay. Because that's kind of always the goal. I mean, I want to see something. I want to do something like that subscribers will go, "That's really cool looking," and maybe people that were like, "I don't know if I should keep getting heat," that they'll go, "Oh, well, hang on. I can't let my subscription lapse. This is the Black Cricket, baby." Anyway, I've had a lot of fun drawing the Black Cricket. Like I said, the team that I work with, I haven't met him in person, but I've talked to Dan. In fact, I talked to Dan today on the phone, and Dan's the writer, Dan Johnson, and like I said, he's part of Dollar Bin Bandits, which every time I look, he's not on the episode, so I don't know what's going on with that, but that's a them and Dan conversation, not a Scott conversation. Anyway, so I forgot I was talking about Dan. Anyway, I haven't met Dan. I'm hoping we can do some conventions. I don't know. I don't know. The comic industry is in such a flux right now, and everybody tells me, "Oh no, everything's good." I'm like, "Is it?" I am happy that the fine folks eat. I think the guy's name is Mike. That Mike is willing to have us. Or I'm glad they're publishing this, and I mean, it's one of those kind of things where you go, "Well, are you making any money?" It's like, well, no, not really. But I mean, would I be making money if I was working on, I mean, all I hear about is nobody's getting paid. That publishers are being demanding and then screwing their artist. So, I mean, if I'm gonna get screwed on a deal, I'd rather just know, like going in, it's like, I'm not really gonna get any money out of this. I mean, I think Yeet is almost sold at cost by the time you figure the mailing. I say sold. It's not sold. I don't know what you call that. It's like a Patreon, I guess. That's what they keep. I guess they have a Patreon. If you're a member of the Patreon, then you get issues. I figure if we can get it out, what I'd like to do is see it collected. That was the one thing in my last project is I really wanted to see it collected, and all along I was told, "Oh yeah, we got a deal. You'll with a publisher, like a book publisher, and it'll be in bookstores." Some of their books were like in like B. Dalton's, yeah, B. Dalton. No, Barnes and Noble, B. Dalton's. Jeez, like I'm from the past. pretty happy with that. Again, I'm not going for these shapes I'm drawing on the black cricket. It doesn't really represent like strict anatomy. I'm kind of just going for what I think would look good. It's just like her. She's wearing like a rubber, like a trench coat, I guess, if you know, or like I think it's supposed to be like a lab coat, but I kind of thought it was like a trench coat. And so the shapes are, it's like, I just want it to look like it's shiny. I have this obsession with like drawing reflections in comics. That was one of the things, like when I was in art school, we did a bunch of like marker stuff. And I really wanted to know, like, how do you do markers? I got all these books on like doing markers in Chrome, like almost like a product design artist or something. Not what I went to school for, but that was like, oh yeah, and that's what I liked about, like I talked about liking John Byrne. That's what I liked about John Byrne and Terry Austin is he would do these great. Like I said, the suits were all shiny looking, and that, again, that's kind of what I'm going for here. Not necessarily like, oh, this is a ductor muscle or whatever. It's just kind of like this, just a shiny suit that's got all these reflections on it because it's the material. I try and keep so the black cricket has these things on its suit, which I like. I like drawing them, but I try and they're not claws. I always picture them as like, um, oh, kind of like on Batman's gauntlets. He's got those things. It's just kind of a rubbery kind of thing. They're not. They don't really form. They don't really serve any function other than to make it look like a cricket. And I don't even know if that's accurate. But I always picture crickets as like having this stuff. I didn't design this. I think Josh did. I think. Oh yeah, almost. It's almost 6. I need to go see where my wife is up to. I think it's about supper time. But I was hoping to finish this before I left, but I don't think I'm going to. Like a little bit more. I don't know if I'll go live with the rest of it. Something I've been trying to do a lot more lately because I've noticed like a lot of comic book artists do it is draw like the soles of their boots. I hope this is not blurry. I'm watching on my TV and it looks really, really blurry. I'm hoping it's just something in my house. Again, if it is, I apologize. Okay, I'm gonna stop there or stop the feed there. I did get like a good chunk of the black cricket ink though. Hopefully you can see that. Um, anyway, thank you for joining me. If you're interested in it, check out, I think it's called Friends of Yeet on Facebook. And see, it's Yeet is Yeet. Check it out if you're interested and you want to know more about the black cricket, or you can comment below if you have any questions or whatever. Anyway, thank you for watching, and watch out for more live feeds. I do a lot of YouTube stuff. Anyway, thanks a lot. Have a good evening. Bye.